Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Latifa. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button down below, and if you're an old subscriber, thank you for coming back to watch my video. It really means a lot to me. Today I'm going to make stew, just normal stew, goat meat stew, actually not something serious. Here I have my tomato, my pepper, my onion already washed and cleaned, and I have my goat meat already washed and cleaned also. And here I have my seasoning that I'm going to use. I'm actually using Maggi star. I love Maggi star because a little goes a long way. You don't need to add too much salt. And I have my all-purpose seasoning that I will use to season my meat. And then I'm going to also use the curry masala. I love curry masala. It has, because there's clove, there's so much things in it, it gives the food so a kind of flavor like that. And then I'm going to use salt to also season, just a little bit of salt. I don't like using too much salt actually. This is actually how I make my own stew. Everybody has their own ways, but I think this way is actually very good. So now I'm just going to put the meat in the pot, and it's already clean, so I don't need to clean it again. Just going to put the meat in the pot before. I'm not going to actually add water. I'm just going to let it stir in its own water. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to say, but that's how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to add my all-purpose seasoning in it. I love the seasoning because there's thyme, there's almost everything inside blended together already, so I don't need to add thyme in it. And then I'm going to add my curry masala. This curry masala, I already used half from it, so I'm just using the remaining one in this meat. I don't want to put too much seasoning actually. And then I'm going to use so I'm adding salt also, so just a little bit of salt actually. And then I'll be adding my Maggi star in it. This Maggi star is very salty already, so there's no need to be putting too much salt. So I'm going to add like 4 in it. The Maggi is already very strong. I don't know why, maybe because of Hamatan, so it's strong. I'm just going to drop it inside like that because at this point I don't have strength to be breaking Maggi. So I'm just going to drop it inside. I'm sure when it starts cooking, it's just going to dissolve by itself inside the meat. And yeah, that's basically what I'm putting in it. And then I'm going to, yeah, that's the third Maggi. We're putting the fourth one now. So yes, I like my stew like this. I don't like putting bell pepper inside my stew actually. I just love my stew, tomato, pepper and onions, that's all, nothing serious. So I forgot, I'm going to put onion inside my meat. I actually forgot to cut the onion before I covered the pot. So we're going to slice one whole onion inside the meat to give it additional flavor. I actually love onions. I love it very well. I love onions. Onion is good. It actually gives your food this nice flavor. So I'm just going to, and goat meat actually needs onions because there's just this smell that goat meat has, so you need to put onion and put seasoning to actually remove that smell. So now I'm just going to put it on the fire for it to start boiling. Remember, we're not adding water into it because we want the goat meat to actually cook in the little water that is in it already, so the seasoning can actually get into the meat. You don't need to start putting too much water in it already. So now I'm just going to light my gas and let's see how we go before I start boiling my tomato. Wow, I almost, okay, thank God. I was worried that my gas was finished. Anyway, we're just going to blend the tomato now and see. Tomatoes these days are actually very strong. I don't know why. So anyway, let's see. I just be blending. So I'll just put the onion inside the blender, and then just put bit by bit of the tomato, because putting too much actually makes the blender not to blend. It just makes this sound. So I'm just going to put little by little, add a little water in it so it will be able to blend easily. I usually don't like adding too much water in my tomato because I like my tomato very thick. So yeah, that's me blending my tomato. You see what the blender did? And I did not even put too much tomato inside the blender, but it still did that. So I have to actually shake it to remove what is actually blocking the blade. The one of the tomato is blocking the blade, so I need to shake the blender to take it off. And see, let's see, yes, if it's continue blending. Okay, it's actually blending now. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep adding tomato and blending gradually and gradually until it's still doing that same thing. There's a tomato that is holding the blade, so keep shaking and shaking to release the tomato from the blade of the blender. So it's actually blending right now, so I'm just going to keep adding tomato little by little into the blender so it doesn't get hooked again. Yes, I'll keep blending while my meat is on the fire, and I'm hoping everything goes well. Yes, I'm just going to keep adding. You keep adding on it till you finish blending your tomato, and then you're done with blending and whatnot. So I just believe everybody has their way of cooking their stew, any way you want to cook your stew. And I love so much pepper in my stew. Actually, I love pepper. Pepper is very good. I love pepper. I love so much pepper. I'm not a Yoruba woman, but I love pepper. How do you even eat without pepper in your food? I don't think I'll be able to eat food without pepper. So that's me blending. I'm still blending my tomato. It's actually, the blender is actually filled up, but me, I have coconut head. I'll keep blending it like that inside. I'm not going to stop. I think I'm done blending my tomato now, so it's time for me to actually turn it into the pot I'm going to use to boil the tomato, because you need to boil your tomato for the water to reduce, so it be the sour taste will leave the tomato, because some tomato are actually very sour. So you turn it in a pot for it to boil it. I like using a big pot to boil my tomato because there's actually a lot of space for the tomato to boil, and I fry my tomato directly in the same pot, so I don't need to start changing pots and all that. I'm just going to rinse the blender, the remaining tomato from the blender into the tomato, and then just put it on fire. My meat is actually still boiling. I've not added water in it. I'm still allowing it to just simmer in its own small water that was inside it already, so it doesn't get too, so all the ingredients are actually going to just penetrate into the meat. So my tomato is on fire now. I'm just going to let it boil while I do other things. Before then, the meat will be ready, and then I get to fry my meat before my tomato is ready. See, I'm using one stone to kill two birds. I'm turning my meat now, so I'll see if it's ready for me to add water in it. It depends on how much meat you want to actually use to cook your meat. This meat is just for just me. Actually, I'm just the person that is going to eat this alone, just me. So I'm using exactly what I need to make my stew. My stew is actually not much, so I'm just going to let it boil. I think my meat is ready now, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water for it to boil again, so it will cook very well now. So because I actually need the broth of the meat to actually season my stew with it, because I don't think I'm going to add any more Maggi and salt inside my stew again. I think this season is enough already. I don't want it to be too seasoned, so I'm just going to let the meat just boil a bit again, then I'll take it off, start frying it. My tomato is actually boiling, so now I'm going to just start heating the pot that I'm going to use to fry my meat. I love this wok, is it wok or wok that I used to fry, because it's actually wide, and I actually love it. It's actually nice for frying stuff. So we're just going to heat the oil and just let it heat a bit, then we'll start frying our meat while the tomato is actually boiling. I can see my tomato is actually boiling. That one too will soon be ready for frying, so I need to hurry, finish frying my meat, and just keep it aside and wait for my tomato to actually be ready for frying, actually not boiling. So let's see. The oil is getting hot. I think the oil is hot enough for me to actually start frying my meat, so I'm just going to drop my meat inside and start frying it. I love to fry my meat very, very dried, but I don't think I'll let it dry too much in this stew. So yes, that's me putting in my meat. I'm just going to split the meat into two and fry a bit. I'll fry the half and then fry the half later when this one is ready, because I didn't put too much oil in the pan, because I want to actually use this oil to fry this stew, and I don't want to keep any leftover oil. Okay, that's me. My meat is fried. I think I'm ready to take it out of the fire before it gets burnt. And my tomato, as you can see, my tomato is actually getting dried, just remaining small for it to be totally dried, so I can also fry it. I think I'm okay with how my meat is right now. So I'm just going to take it out of the oil and just keep it aside before the tomato gets dried, so I can turn the oil into the tomato directly. Some people actually keep the oil that they use for frying their meat separately. I use a new oil to fry their stew, but I don't know, it depends, everybody with their choice of how they want to fry their stew. Some people feel the oil is actually dirty. Yeah, that's my meat fried and ready to be used to make my stew. So I'm just going to remove the oil from the fire now, or I'm just going to let it be there so I can just turn it directly. I've already turned the oil into the stew. I'm feeling like the oil is not enough, so I think I'm just going to add a little bit of oil into the tomato again, so it will fry very well. I think oil actually helps the tomato to fry properly. So we're just going to add a little bit of oil into the tomato again. That one too is actually very small. Maybe I'll add another one again. So I'm just going to fry and fry and fry my tomato. I'll keep frying. I actually like frying my tomato to be very, like, not really like dried, but at least let it just, I don't know, I like to fry my tomato properly. Some people actually just fry it a bit and then just eat, because they feel like all the nutrients, all the vitamins of the tomato, we just leave the tomato if you over fry it. But I feel frying it actually preserves the stew. It helps it stays longer, and I actually feel like when you fry your tomato very well, it's sweeter. But I know some people actually just fry a bit because maybe they want to have a taste of buka stew and all that. But me, I'll fry my tomato very well. I don't mind to stand 30 minutes, 1 hour to actually fry my tomato to be very dried. I actually love it. Not everybody actually love it, but I like this style of cooking my stew. Actually, it's actually very nice. Maybe you guys should try this style and see the difference. I think because there are different ways of actually preparing stew, different ways, different things to actually put inside. So this is one of the ways that I actually use to prepare my stew. But this stew, I'm just going to eat it for like I don't know how long I'll be eating it, so I need to fry it properly so I can actually preserve it for long. Keep frying and frying and frying. So I think the stew is about to be ready. You see how it's looking? It's looking like it's about to be ready. So I think I'll just stir it for a while again and just fry it a little bit before I'll add the stock from the meat. So I think I'm ready to add the stock. I'm just going to turn everything. So people actually filter their stock, but I just turned everything inside it. There's no need to waste anything at the moment. So that's my stew after turning in my stock. It's actually looking okay, so I just need to stir and stir. Sometimes you feel there's no oil in your stew, but when you start boiling it again, you see the oil will come to the top of the stew. So you have to be careful when adding oil, because you don't want to add too much oil into your stew. So I'm just going to stir it, allow it to boil. You can see the oil has come to the top of the stew, and I think that's just perfect for me. The oil actually makes it look attractive, so it's actually looking nice. I'm just going to stir it for a while before I turn in my meat into the stew. Some people don't like putting in their meat all in their stew, but I'm going to put everything inside my stew, because so the stew can just enter and penetrate the meat very well. The seasoning can actually just enter inside the meat properly. So yeah, that's me. I'm going to put in my meat now. I think I've eaten so much from the meat. The meat is looking small, but with me, anyway, that's me. I'm just going to allow the stew to boil a bit, then I'll take it off the fire. Yeah, I think this is just perfect stew. It looks good, it looks nice. I think this is just like, especially when you don't really want to do too much in your stew, I think this is just okay for it. If you like videos like this, just let me know in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not subscribed, tell your friends to come and subscribe to my channel, share my videos, drop comments in my video, and I'm hoping I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching my video. Bye.